Welcome back to Furniture Industry News, your source for staying up to speed on what's happening in the furniture world. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2025, and we've got a lot to cover. From consumer demand signals to tariffs, shifting retail loyalty, and even the story of a family-owned furniture store closing its doors after nearly 8 decades, this episode will walk you through the key headlines you need to know. Let's dive in. We'll start with consumers, because at the end of the day, their confidence and spending patterns are what drives this entire industry. A new round of consumer insights is showing that planned furniture purchases for the second half of the year are tied closely to three things: the housing market, rising life events, and promotions. People moving into new homes or preparing for big milestones like weddings and babies are keeping furniture on their radar. What's interesting, though, is that even with tighter budgets, many consumers still say they'll prioritize furniture as part of improving their homes. This shows us that while discretionary spending has been pressured, furniture continues to be viewed as a meaningful investment. Speaking of housing, home builder confidence held steady in September. That might not sound like breaking news, but in today's environment, steady is actually pretty positive. Builders are facing higher costs for materials and labor, and buyers are still contending with interest rates that remain elevated. Yet, demand hasn't dropped off dramatically. New homes are continuing to move, and that means potential downstream demand for furniture. It's not explosive growth, but it's stability. And for our industry, stability is good. Now let's pivot to the retail side. Seasonal hiring across the retail sector is expected to be the lowest since 2009. That's a pretty dramatic statement considering how much retailers usually ramp up for the holiday season. Fewer hires could mean longer lines, slower service, and a leaner approach to holiday operations. For furniture retailers, it might not have the same impact as it does for general merchandise stores, but it's still worth watching. A thinner labor pool could make it tougher to staff up during promotional pushes like Black Friday or extended holiday weekends. Zooming out to the broader economy, the latest manufacturing numbers show the Purchasing Managers' Index, or PMI, continuing to slide in September. That signals contraction in the manufacturing sector. For furniture, it means supply chains may remain under pressure, and factory activity could slow. It also reinforces the uncertainty around how quickly the economy is moving forward. When PMI dips, it's often a reflection of businesses pulling back on new orders. So while demand exists, the production side of the equation is showing more caution. And speaking of caution, tariffs are once again a hot topic. Furniture industry executives are weighing both the pitfalls and the potential of new tariffs. On one hand, higher tariffs can raise costs for retailers and consumers, squeezing margins and slowing sales. On the other, some see opportunity for more domestic production and for diversifying sourcing strategies. The big unknown is how quickly changes might take hold and how much the added costs would ripple through pricing. For many in the industry, tariffs feel like a double-edged sword. They may protect certain sectors, but they also risk creating new challenges. At the same time, another shift is happening on the consumer side that could affect how retailers position themselves. Loyalty is weakening. Recent reports show that shoppers are less tied to specific brands or stores than they were in the past. They're more willing to shop around, hunt for deals, and try new retailers. For furniture sellers, that's both a warning and an opportunity. It means you can't take your existing customer base for granted. But it also means there's room to win over new customers if you can deliver better value, convenience, or service. On the financial services side of the industry, Synchrony just acquired Versatile Credit. For those who aren't familiar, Versatile Credit provides tools for financing solutions at the point of sale. By bringing this platform under its umbrella, Synchrony is signaling its commitment to making consumer financing more streamlined and accessible. For retailers, this could translate into more flexible financing options to offer customers, which often makes or breaks a big-ticket purchase. In an environment where budgets are tight, financing tools are becoming even more important in closing the sale. Now let's talk about something a bit closer to home for many retailers. The story of a long-standing furniture store in El Paso that just closed its doors after 78 years in business. That's nearly 8 decades of serving a community, and its closing highlights the challenges family-owned stores face in today's competitive retail environment. Rising costs, competition from larger chains, and shifting consumer behaviors make it tough for independent stores to survive. For many in the industry, it's a sobering reminder of how important adaptation is and how the legacy of these businesses is something worth respecting. When you put all of this together, a picture starts to emerge. Consumers are still planning furniture purchases, especially when tied to life events or housing. Home building isn't booming, but it's steady, and that helps fuel ongoing demand. On the flip side, retailers are bracing for a slower holiday hiring season. Manufacturing is cooling off, and tariffs are once again on the horizon. Shoppers are less loyal, meaning the fight for their attention is more intense than ever. Financing is becoming a bigger part of the sales process, and behind the scenes, regulatory questions and long-standing store closures remind us of the challenges and opportunities shaping this industry every day. It's a complicated landscape, but the bottom line is this: the furniture industry continues to move forward, even as pressures mount from the economy, regulation, and shifting consumer expectations. For professionals in this space, staying informed is critical. It allows you to anticipate trends, adjust your strategies, and better serve your customers in an environment that's anything but static. That's it for today's roundup. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to subscribe to Furniture Industry News so you never miss the updates that matter most for our industry.